We are reading the Srimad Bhagavatam. We are in Canto 1, Chapter 17, and the text for today is text 38. So, text 17 is Punishment and Reward of Kali. Can I request Arya Govind Prabhu, is it possible for you to read the text, purport, and text
Yes.
and the purport and translation?
Yes.
I can help you when you need.
Sure, Mataji. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tadojayam Udire Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtuki. Hare Krishna. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 17th chapter, verse number 38. Sutavacha abhyartitas tada tasmai sthanani kalaye dadau yutam panam striyasuna yatra dharmas chaturvida. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Sutta Goswami said, Maharaja Parikshit, thus being petitioned by the personality of Kali, gave him permission to reside in places where gambling, drinking, prostitution, and animal slaughter were performed. Purport. The basic principles of irreligiosity, such as pride, prostitution, intoxication, and falsehood, counteract the four principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The personality of Kali was given permission to live in four places particularly mentioned by the king, namely the place of gambling, the place of prostitution, the place of drinking, and the place of animal slaughter. Srila Jiva Goswami directs that drinking against the principles of scriptures such as Sautramani Yagna, association with women outside marriage, and killing animals against the injunctions of scripture are religious. In the Vedas, two types of injunctions are there for the pravritas, or those who are engaged in the material enjoyment, and for nivritas, or those who are liberated from material bondage. The Vedic injunction for the pravritas is to gradually regulate their activities towards the path of liberation. Therefore, for those who are in the lowest stage of ignorance and who indulge in wine, women, and flesh, drinking by performing Sautramani Yagna, association of women by marriage, and flesh eating by sacrifice are sometimes recommended. Such recommendations in the Vedic literature are meant for a particular class of men and not for all. But because there are injunctions of the Vedas for particular types of persons, such activities by the pravritas are not considered adharma. One man's food may be poison for others. Similarly, what is recommended for those in the mode of ignorance may be poison for those in the mode of goodness. Srila Jiva Goswami Prabhu therefore affirms that recommendations in the scriptures for certain class of men are never to be considered adharma or irreligious, but such activities are factually adharma and they are never to be encouraged. The recommendations in the scriptures are not meant for encouragement of such adharma, but for regulating the necessary adharma gradually toward the path of dharma. Following in the footsteps of Maharaja Parikshit, it is the duty of all executive heads of states to see that principles of religion, namely austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and then truthfulness, are established in the state, and that the principles of religion, namely pride, illicit female association or prostitution, intoxication, and falsity, are checked by all means. And to make the best use of bad bargain, the personality of Kali may be transferred to places of gambling, drinking, prostitution, and slaughterhouses. If there are any places like that, those who are addicted to these religious habits may be regulated by the injunctions of the scripture. In no circumstances should they be encouraged by any state. In other words, The state should categorically stop all sorts of gambling, drinking, prostitution, and falsity. The state which wants to eradicate corruption by majority may induce the principles of religion in the following manner. 1. 2 compulsory fasting days in a month, if not more austerity. Even from the economic point of view, such 2 fasting days in a month in the state will save tons of food, and the system will also act very favorably on the general health of the citizens. 2. There must be compulsory marriage of young boys and girls attaining 24 years of age and 16 years of age respectively. There is no harm in co-education in the schools and colleges provided the boys and girls are duly married. And in case there is any intimate connection between the male and female student, they should be married properly without illicit relation. The Divorce Act is encouraging prostitution, and this should be abolished. Mataji, you can read, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Number 3, the citizens of the state must give in charity up to 50% of their income for the purpose of creating a spiritual atmosphere in the state or in the human society, both individually and collectively. They should preach the principles of Bhagavatam by karma yoga or doing everything for the satisfaction of the Lord. B. Regular hearing of the Srimad Bhagavatam from authorized persons or realized souls. C. Chanting of the glories of the Lord, congregational at home or at places of worship. D. Rendering all kinds of service to the Bhagavatas engaged in preaching Srimad Bhagavatam. And E. Residing in the place where the atmosphere is saturated with God consciousness. If the state is regulated by the above process, naturally there will be God conscious everywhere. Gambling of all description, even speculative business enterprise, is considered to be degrading, and when gambling is encouraged in the state, there is a complete disappearance of truthfulness. Allowing young boys and girls to remain unmarried more than the above-mentioned age and licensing animal slaughterhouses of all descriptions should be at once prohibited. The flesh eaters may be allowed to take flesh as mentioned in the scriptures and not otherwise. Intoxications of all description, even smoking cigarettes, chewing tobacco, or drinking of tea must be prohibited. Hare Krishna. So we don't, Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you for joining in. Kamal Panchal Prabhuji just messaged and said he won't be able to join in. We read the purport and the translation because we thought we should carry on, because then tomorrow another Prabhuji will continue. But we can just deliberate on this text, which is very simple, and the purport is very explanatory. And here Srila Prabhupada mentions 2 words, maybe they are new, especially for me, pravratas and nivratas. So pravratas are those who are engaged in material enjoyment, and nivratas are those who are liberated from the material bondage. So Prabhuji, we are all pravratas because we are not liberated.
Yes, of course, Mataji. Yes, we are all on the, as Prabhupada said, we are all on the path of a spiritual understanding in different levels. So we are still wanting to enjoy the material world. So we are still definitely pravritas, and having some attachment and having some desires, materialistic desires. To still we are pravritas.
And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to telling us where Kali was given shelter. He was shelter where the places of gambling and drinking and prostitution and the slaughterhouses. And he also explained dharma, the 4 principles of dharma: austerity, cleanliness, mercy, and truthfulness. The 3 legs, austerity, cleanliness, and mercy, have gone. And we are just standing on 1 leg in Kali Yuga, which is the truthfulness, which is slowly diminishing as well. So yesterday when Prabhuji said that Parikshit Maharaj contained Kali in
In a
one
box.
box, I was thinking this box has opened and evaporated. It
Yeah.
is really prolific when the amount of the box is not contained anymore. It is exploded in various places. And then Srila Prabhupada goes on to introduce that we should be fasting 2 days. And I didn't realize this, but I like the point where he says that if everybody fasted for 2 days in a month, then it would help the economy as well. You know, but when
Yes.
you fast, I mean, at least not in our house, but I've seen that when we fast, we make so many other food substances. So I think fasting here means just
Yes. Actually, earlier days, fasting means even in South India, it's not called palahara. Means you eat milk and fruits.
yes, yes,
So not cooking elaborate, again sabudana, khichdi, vada. Okay, we have made it elaborate, but still you have to keep it to minimum.
yeah,
So that's what Prabhupada meant, that, by fasting at least, the grains will be saved and then everyone can be fed in terms of distress. So that's what he meant. And then also important point is health wise, he also mentions in one lecture, by fasting, first of all, our spiritual benefit is there, especially on the Ekadasi days. And of course, health benefit is also there, because by fasting, you will give rest to your stomach and then it will rejuvenate. It will rejuvenate and it will give back the work it is supposed to do for another 14 days. so so
even
that's yeah.
even immunologically, we have now found out that fasting helps because the cells will eat up the cells that are not very good, so are not very healthy. So it's called autophagy, where you can.
Yeah.
So a scientist got a Nobel Prize for describing this. And when you fast, these cells will eat up the cells that are not well in the immune system, and therefore preventing even cancer and such diseases. So fasting is very good. I mean, our Shastras have been saying it since a long time, but science has just proved that it is good. And then he emphasized the point of marriage. So in order to discourage prostitution. And then again, he made a point.
Very, very important point, Mataji. Actually, our if you see grandfathers and then even to my father's age, probably the marriages of girl child would be finished by around 16 to 18, not more than that. Even my grandmother, I think she got married when she was 13 or 14.
Yeah,
So this is very, very scientific. And then, when followed, it's emotionally and then physically, the girl child gets the support from the husband, and then they developed a bondage between themselves, and then they go into grihastha life very naturally. And then it also prevents unnecessary mixing up with other sex, and then you will get unnecessary problems. So that's what Prabhupada is trying to tell, that it's very important. Now it's opposite. If you go to the um, cities especially, girls are not marrying up to age of 30, and then they're competing on each on the level of the males, and then they're oh, male, what is he doing? He's earning money, so I can also earn money. So, and also I have also have the freedom for doing whatever man does. I see very disturbing this time when I went to Bangalore. I saw very disturbing sites that girls are in front of the bars, and then they're queuing up in the bars to go inside, and then they're smoking outside. Very disturbing, Mataji. So what Prabhupada is saying, like always the girl child, the woman is protected when she's at young. She's protected by father. When she's married, protected by husband. And then when she's getting older, then she's protected by the sun. So she can never be in the sense saying that I'm free, I'm alone, and then I can live in the society alone. So Prabhupada clearly mentioned that, that's not true freedom. Freedom is to give protection to the, not, it's not something like you are taking away the freedom, but it's protecting the women. So Vedic culture is always like protecting the women from the girl child up to the when she gets old. So that's very important point. What I thought to be mentioned here.
Thank you. Yes, Prabhuji, that's really true. It's happening everywhere. The Western society always had this, but now it's even infiltrating in the East. So it's very disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
And then Prabhupada goes on to saying that we must give 50% of our income in charity, which is something very new for me. I thought 10% is good enough, but I think 50% will, if everybody donates 50%, then definitely there will be, the atmosphere of the state will really improve.
No, as it is, government is taking taxes, a lot of taxes. I think some of us may be paying up to 30% taxes.
Yeah.
So, so, but if government was part of the spiritual culture, so then that is, they'll be using it as as a tool to serve the Lord, because even yesterday and Saturday and Sunday we had Atul Krishna Prabhuji in Nakuru. So we had a couple of house programs. He was saying that Lakshmi is the chaste wife of Narayana. So if you want only Lakshmi, that means you don't want husband and you want to invite wife. So which wife will come, or which husband will allow the wife to go alone? So if you want to invite Lakshmi, you have to invite with Narayana. So, and also she'll be happy and he'll be happy if you engage Lakshmi in the service of Narayana. So he was saying like that. So, but present situation is we'll only keep Lakshmi and then worship Lakshmi and Lakshmi Puja. So all those things are there. But you're forgetting that Narayana is to be worshipped first, and along with Narayana we can worship Lakshmi. So and then engage Lakshmi in the service of Narayana. So that's the right attitude and right mood, and then everything will be okay by the blessings of Krishna. Everything will be okay if you do like that. But we have been told from the beginning of our lives, we just have to protect our wealth, and then not to give on charity, and not to distribute our wealth. But still, Prabhupada is telling that we have to give up this kind of charity, but through right means. Not to, some people do philanthropic work, some people will distribute some things, but that's also good, but still it has to be channelized well. That's what I think he means.
Yes, Prabhuji. And then Prabhuji goes on to, Srila Prabhupada goes on to say that we should be preaching Bhagavatam, and regular hearing and chanting the glories of the Lord should be done, and rendering service to the Bhagavatas and God-conscious people. And again, he emphasizes, I think this is twice, that gambling is strictly prohibited, and even smoking and cigarettes and chewing tobacco. And he goes on to say drinking of tea is also prohibited. He doesn't mention anything about coffee, Prabhuji.
Yeah. You see, basically, this coffee and tea came through the British.
Yeah.
They introduced coffee and tea in India. Otherwise, Indians were never drinking tea and coffee, nor the cigarettes. Because I was told by somebody that British were giving coffee and tea and cigarettes freely when they wanted to introduce Indians to be their market. So they started distributing freely on the street. So they wanted to make Indians get habituated to these things, so that they can find an easy market.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, Indians were never addicted to these things. We were never, not coffee, not, of course. Okay, even in the previous history, there were some uh, uh, these places like slaughtering was allowed in the place of Kali, uh, Kali Devi. So they used to go on an Amavasya day, and you have to offer it to her. Cut the animal which you want to eat, and then you say the mantra that I am so habituated to eating meat. So please, you are the witness, and then let me be eaten by the animal. So that is the mantra you're supposed to say. So then Kali Devi will bless you. So, okay, that you are unable to control your senses. So you are allowed to eat this meat, but you have to understand that you have to become an animal again for that animal to eat you, something like that. So that restriction was there. But now the restriction has been removed, and then everywhere it's going on unrestricted, and the government promotes all these slaughterhouses, including cows, which is supposed to be most sacred and then most beneficial to the human beings. So that's a sorry state, Taji.
Yeah, that's true. So I guess that is today's purport. Is there anything anybody would like to add or ask questions? It's a small group today.
Yes, I would like to add, Mataji, that excuse me, charity, Prabhuji was talking about charity. And just to add that, charity has to be given to deserving people or places where it's will be used properly. Otherwise, it's not considered charity. I think that's in the Gita.
Yes, Mataji. I think charity, Krishna mentions three kinds of charity: charity in ignorance, and charity in passion, and charity in mode of goodness. So each has its own implications.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, because that's it's good to know, because sometimes you give charity for for example, there are some organizations now where you're hearing, certain things on the news that the money is used more for management rather than getting to the people who really need it and deserve it. So, it's made me quite aware of where to donate money that is really classed as charity, and it's going for the purpose of what you want it to go, for the purpose.
True. Especially money becomes difficult, Mataji, when you donate money to a place, and then if you don't know how they are using it, then it becomes difficult. You may be helping them even slaughter animals using your money,
Yes, very true. Very
and
true.
that's not good for you either. Then it's better to donate in terms of kind. So either it's prasadam or it's clothes or something like that, so that at least if they use it, even after that, if they if they sell it and then use it for some other purpose, that is their thing, karma. But it's better to give it in terms of kind than cash in some places.
Yeah.
If you
I mean, there was a situation here where when you fill up your petrol tank, they were automatically taking out 25 pence or whatever without even asking you. And I was told, that could be going to like the Tamil Tigers or whoever, not the sort of place or the purpose you want that money to go to. So, it's good to question and to be aware.
True, Mataji. Yes, thank you.
Any more additions or questions or comments for today's text?
Hare Krishna Mataji and Prabhuji, thank you very much. Apologies for joining late. Prabhuji, I was just discussing with Mataji the other day. You were in the class. Do you remember Atul Prabhuji was talking about the three types of Lakshmi, the three main types of Lakshmi? Do you remember? I mean, I know he mentioned the first two. The first type of Lakshmi is the Lakshmi in the spiritual world. And then the second type is the Lakshmi when we talk about material things like Lakshmi as in money or cash or kind. But you also mentioned a third type of Lakshmi. Because my question to him was, there are so many Lakshmis in the Vaikuntha world. So how do we know which Lakshmi we are referring to? So the Lakshmi who got out during Samudra Manthan, the Lakshmi who went to Vraj and couldn't enter the Rasalila, or the Lakshmi who came to pacify Narsimadev. Now with Narsimadev, we know that that is the Lakshmi who stays with Narsimadev in the planet of Narsimadev. But with the other Lakshmis, how do we relate to which Lakshmi we are talking about? And there are so many Lakshmis in the spiritual world, so how do we recognize that? And then Prabhuji talked about, three main categories of Lakshmi. And it was my fault. I didn't take down the notes. So if you remember, Prabhuji.
Even I didn't take down the notes, Mataji. I don't remember. I think it's completely out of my...
No worries, Prabhuji, no worries. No.
And just sorry, I joined late again. But just going back to that point of the Lakshmi, worshiping Lakshmi, I think what Prabhuji is saying is so right. You worship Lakshmi Narayan together,
Yes,
and not just Lakshmi on her own because you are after wealth or whatever, because it's not really the purpose or the right thing to be thinking along those lines.
Yes, Mataji, that's Lakshmi is Chanchala, isn't she? So she goes away. If Narayan is not there, you would not find Lakshmi. So that is the reason her other name is Chanchala. So it's always Lakshmi Narayan.
But the Brahma Samhita says, it's practically thousands and thousands of gopis are serving Krishna in the spiritual world.
Yeah.
Yes, I think there's a verse, Lakshmi Sahasra Shata Sambrama Sevya Manam Govinda Madi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So practically tens and thousands of Lakshmis are serving Krishna in the spiritual world.
Yeah, yes.
And Prabhupada says you are after one Lakshmi, and then thousands of Lakshmis are serving Krishna. But of course, which Lakshmi we are referring to? I think in this universe where we are living, there is a particular form of Lakshmi, and there is a particular form of Narayana who is there, who is in the Shweta Dvipa. So I think they are the ones which we are worshipping. So Lord Brahma goes to them in terms of in times of material disturbances, and then which he cannot handle. So he goes to Lakshmi Narayana and then chants the Purusha Suktas, and then they come. I mean, it will be only revealed to Lord Brahma with the solution.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Yeah, that is the Lakshmi Devi in the causal ocean. So go to Karuna Daksha Vishnu, and then that's where Brahma goes in there. Or is it the Shira? No, it's the Shira Daksha Vishnu. Yes, Prabhuji. Yeah, so they go to the key ocean and then they pray. Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I get it's really the other thing which I learned very recently, and I need to learn a bit more about it. It is in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It talks about two different Shweta Deeps, two different. So one is the where the Kshirodaksha Vishnu lives, but the other one is also in Krishna Loka. That is the top. So Krishna Loka is divided into three. You might know this already, Prabhuji and Mataji. It's divided into Dwarka, Mathura, and then Vrindavan. And Vrindavan is the topmost. It's also called Gokul or Golak Vrindavan. And Krishna Loka is also, so that is the other Shweta. So earlier I used to get confused when people used to refer to Shweta because one is where you have Kshirodaksha Vishnu living, but there is the other Shweta which is in Krishna Loka, and that is it's there as well. But you know, when we get to that part of Srimad Bhagavatam, hopefully we'll be able to look into this more. But I get bits of it through a WhatsApp group that sends us a verse of Chaitanya Charitamrita every single day. And because the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it has excerpts from all the different Shastric books, there are bits and things they've taken from Bhagavatam as well, where I came across this. So this is something just as a reflection, as something new, which I find quite fascinating. Yeah.
Actually, all the spiritual worlds are divided as per the rasas, Mataji. Many, I mean, Vaikuntha Loka, what we speak is about Shanta Rasa.
Yeah.
Then, you know, then the Dasya Rasa, then the Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. So, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Madhurya Rasa. So, Golaka Vrindavana consists of all the rasas together because it has all the other rasas. But in the Vaikuntha Loka, it's only the Shanta Rasa.
Oh, okay. In Vaikuntha, it is only Shant. So you don't have the other rasas at all in Vaikuntha.
No, it's you see, you are worshipping Krishna as Narayana, and you know there is a class by Amarendra Prabhu. I wish you could hear it.
Yes,
You know,
all reverence.
the devatas are, you know, falling at the feet and then wanting to see Lord Narayana, and then their helmets are falling, and then there's a big sound, and then the Dwarapalakas are hitting them and then chasing them away. So it's that kind of an awe and reverence in that spiritual world, where you know you are worshipping Lord Narayana as like a supreme Lord, and then you have a personal in the relation.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, it's interesting you mentioned about Amarendra Prabhu. He's just his classes are just so fascinating, and he. I mean, I remember hearing something about around the same point, and he was saying that, you know, pray to all, when you pray to Narayana, pray to Narasimhadeva, pray to Vishnu, pray to you know, Balaji, pray to all, but just pray to them just like you pray to the demigods, you also pray to them, obviously with more respect and more bhakti, but pray to them that, you know, please bless us so that and then just take me to Gokul, just take me to Krishna. Yeah,
Because we are in the Gaudiya Sampradaya, so
yeah.
Like we are following Srimati Radharani. So our you know, our ultimate destination, you know, we are wanting to go and serve her, like, because all our acharyas are, you know, manjaris, and then Rupa Manjari, Ananga Manjari, so all are manjaris. So our mood of this parampara is to serve Radharani. So, but because also we are coming with a mood of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I've heard some devotees saying, so we'll have a place both in Golaka Vrindavana and then also in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's abode. So I'm not very sure that I've heard this, but still this is what I've heard,
No,
Mataji.
you're right, Prabhuji. You're absolutely right, because I've heard the same. But because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is also the absolute, he is Krishna in the original form. So he, in his Mahaprabhu as a devotee form, he lives on the other side of Goloka. So Krishna, as is as Sham Sundar, he lives in the crust at the absolute center. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as a devotee, but also as true Krishna, he also lives in Goloka, but on the other side, because Goloka is it's big, and it can expand or retract because it's in the form of a lotus. So he's on the other side. But yeah, I've heard the same thing, Prabhuji. Yeah.
Yeah, it's still we have to purify ourselves, and then um, get out of this more material bondage. That should be our first aim. Of course, what Prabhupada has laid here, it is it is a sure short way of going back to home, back to Godhead. But if it depends on us, and then how we practice on a day-to-day basis, how we commit ourselves, and then like how we involve in even in preaching also, because sometimes we may be doing our own practices sadhana, and then but we're not preaching, or we're not helping in the preaching movement, because basically ours is a preaching movement. I think we have heard about this as ABCD of this Krishna association. I'm forgetting the chanting, diet. I'm forgetting the B. B is books. A is association, B is books, C is chanting, and then D is diet.
Okay, that's very nice, Prabhuji. Thank you. And since it's, I know we're coming towards the end of the program. Since it's Purushottam month, I know Atul Prabhuji, he talked about the do's and the don'ts of Purushottam month. But to me, Purushottam month, I can't remember. Did he talk about the reason as to why it's called Purushottam month? He probably did. But to me, it means it's quite special because it is mentioned as one of the things of Draupadi. And Draupadi is another name, Panchali is another name of Draupadi, as you know. So I found it quite fascinating to find out about the Purushottam month, because it has a direct link to Draupadi. And I don't know if Prabhuji mentioned that in his classes.
I don't know about it, so maybe you can tell us as well.
So I don't know if Urmila Mataji or Renuka or Premila Mataji, I don't know if you know. Okay, so if I go wrong anywhere, Prabhuji and Mataji, so do correct me. So as far as I remember, this is the month where it's created, comes every 3 years, and the reason is because in the astrological calendar, there is the difference. So the solar and the lunar month, they should start and finish at the same time. But the solar year, it is about 365 days and sometimes 366 days, whereas the lunar year is 354 days. So there is that difference of 11 days between the two. So what happens is over 3 years, this 11 days becomes about around 30 days or 33 days or 31 days. So every 3 years, a whole month is added, so that again, the solar and the lunar year can start at the same time. So this is the extra month. Now, because this month is extra and does not happen every year, no special day is organized over here. So there is no special tithi or day in this month, as you know. So, and then this month started being called as Mal month, or, Mal is excretion or something bad. So, and obviously, because there is a deity for everything, the deity of this month was very, very unhappy because people, the other devotees, the other devatas, they used to make fun of her. So she went to Narayana and she was crying a lot. And then Narayana said, "You've come to Vaikuntha. It is no anxiety. It's Vaikuntha. You've come and you're crying over here." But she was unstoppable. So to cut a long story short, they went to Krishna. And then Krishna said, "Why are you crying?" And then it was explained. And so that is when Krishna said, "Okay, no one goes from Golok Vrindavan, empty-handed, and you've come to me directly. So I'm giving my name to this month." So it becomes the Purushottam month, and it is the most important month. Now, Kartik month is very, very important because Kartik month is related to Radharani. And it is important to Krishna because Radharani is the most important person in Krishna's life. But with Purushottam month, if it's even more important because it is Krishna himself. So, and then Krishna says that, every single day and every single tithi of this month is important. So there are loads of other things. So now, that is a different side of the story. So now we come to the Pandavas and Draupadi. So when they were in they were in the jungle, they were fleeing from the Kauravas, and they were in that 12th year, and then the 13th year they had to do Agyatavas, etc. And then Krishna knew about them, and then because Krishna was their Sakha, Krishna was their friend, and they were asking Krishna that, "Krishna, you knew about this. You know everything, why did you let us suffer through all of this? Why put us through so much trouble since the beginning, and all these 12 years?" And again, I'm going very quickly. And Krishna tells the brothers that, do you know why? Because you never so far you haven't really been celebrating the Purushottam month properly. Okay, the month comes and goes every 3 years, but you do not give special attention to this month. You are great devotees of me, and you're always serving me, but you do nothing special for me in this month. You just let this month come and go as any other month. So it's a lesson to us that, yes, in every single month, we are to serve Krishna, but we have to take special care to serve Krishna in this month because Krishna is the month himself. So we just have to do something special for Krishna to make him feel special more, to tell him that we love you. Okay, and then Krishna says, and there's your wife, Draupadi. And she has disregarded Purushottam month as well. And that is the reason she is suffering too. And that is when Krishna tells the Pandavas and Draupadi about Draupadi's previous life. So Prabhuji, you might know about this. So Draupadi in his previous life, she was the daughter of a very, very pious sage. Now, I forget the name of the sage, but he was a very, very pious sage. And he was always thinking about Krishna and involved and absorbed in his meditation. Now, he didn't have a wife, but he had a daughter, had a beautiful daughter. And the daughter was growing up, but the sage was just so absorbed in his devotion that he forgot that his daughter was growing up and getting into a marriageable age. And the daughter got into the marriageable age, her friends got married, and she was not married. And so she kept, pining and pining, and oh, look, my father, he's not looking for a proper husband for me. And then she was not very happy at all. But obviously, as was the custom of those days, she couldn't say anything, nor could she go and find a husband for herself. She had to wait for her elders to find someone suitable for her, and her father never did that. And then time came when the father had to leave his material body. So then the girl was left all by herself. And she was really, really, she just didn't know what to do. Now, this sage was very, very well known, and he was so pious. Now, his friend, one of his closest friends, was Durvasa Muni. And as you know, Durvasa Muni is a part incarnation of Lord Shiva. Or rather he has qualities of Rudra in him. So Durvasa Muni was a friend of the sage, and he came to the daughter and said, look, your father was my friend, and I'm going to look after you like a father. What do you want? What do you want me to do? What can I do for you right now so that I can make you happy and comfortable? And the daughter said, and the girl says that I'm of marriageable age, and I've been wanting to get married for such a long time, and I just want a husband. And then Durvasa Muni said, okay, Purushottam month is coming up, and that's the Lord's month. Pray in this month. Pray to the Lord that you get a good husband. This month is so powerful, and the Lord is so pleased. Any small devotional service that you do, that multiplies 1,000,000 times. So just pray to the Lord in this month to get a husband, good husband, and I can guarantee you that you will go do that. Now, this daughter, she was a bit impudent, and she said, I've grown up, so, I'm of so-and-so age, and I've never heard of Purushottam month before. My father didn't tell me, and, we don't even have this month every year, and you're just telling me to pray in this month. I didn't believe you. So the daughter actually insulted Purushottam month and said, I don't believe you. And that to Durvasa Muni. So Durvasa Muni, obviously, you know how Durvasa Muni gets angry very quickly. But because this daughter was his close friend's daughter, he said, look, I'm not going to curse you, but you will find consequences of the fact that you have actually insulted Purushottam month, and there is no way around it. You will suffer because of that, but this is not me cursing you, because this is because you've insulted the Lord directly. And then the girl realized, and she said, oh, please, how can I atone this? What can I do? And then Durvasa Muni said, okay, go to Lord Shiva and then just pray. So the girl prayed and prayed to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva came and he said, okay, fine, yes, we forgive you, but obviously, you cannot, because it's the Lord's month you have insulted, I cannot completely take away the curse. But what I can do is I can give you a boon. What do you want? And then the girl said, I want to get married. I want to get married. I want to get, and she was so excited that in her excitement, she said, I want a husband. She said that 5 times. And Shiva said, okay, you will have 5 husbands. And then the girl said, I don't want 5 husbands. I just want 1 husband. Okay. And Shiva said, but I've already given you this boon. And you see why, this is all happening because, you did not follow the Purushottam month properly, and you're doing all kind of wrong things now. And the girl said, please, please, please take away the other 4 husbands. I just want 1 husband. And Shiva said, I cannot take that back. What I can do is I can delay that until your next birth. So in this birth, you wouldn't have to have 5 husbands, but I cannot take that away from you. I will delay that until your next birth, so that in this birth, at least you can pray to the Lord, ask for his forgiveness for insulting Purushottam, and then go back to Godhead. So that is what the daughter did, but she couldn't completely forego the curse that had come upon her of the 5 husbands. So in the next birth, she took birth as Draupadi. But again, Draupadi, there's the story around how Draupadi desired for a husband who had the 5 qualities which were present in all the 5 husbands, and it couldn't be possible in one particular person. So the thing from the past life of 5 husbands, plus Draupadi's own desire of having so many qualities in a husband, they are both combined, and that is the reason Draupadi got those 5 husbands. But along with the 5 husbands, she had to go through the hardships because she was associated with those 5 husbands, and because it was all to do with the fact that both she and her husbands never particularly respected Purushottam up until now. And they had to go through that. So Krishna explains this to them, and then from then on, the Pandavas and Draupadi, they were aware of why they should be following Purushottam properly. Okay, but if I've gone wrong anywhere in this pastime, please do correct me.
No, I think you did it absolutely spot on, Mataji. That is what I read. Exactly what you said.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
The only thing is, sorry, Mataji, the only thing is, I read or heard the blessings we get in this month of Purushottama for following the the principles. There's a list of things we should do. Was 1,000 times. I wasn't aware it's 1,000,000 times.
I know, Mataji, that's probably my speech. The way of speaking. You're absolutely right. It is 1,000 times. Yeah. So it's I say 1,000,000 and zillion all the time, and I get teased about it. So yeah, please do ignore it.
But it's sorry, Mataji, I keep cutting in. It's such a powerful month. I remember it 3 years ago. And it's a month, I think, where we should absolutely take advantage of it and just focus solely on things like, the ghee lamp and reading chapter 15 of the Gita, reading the Bhagavatam, and all the list of things, whatever we can do and fit in, because it's just so powerful and so generous, the blessings in this Purushottama month.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it is Mataji, yeah. But it's Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 10. Is it chapter 10? Is it verse 14?
Yes.
Chapter 10 verse 14, and then chapter 15, because chapter 15 is Purushottam. It's but what I was listening to Rasamrita Swami Maharaj, and he was saying it doesn't mean that you only stick to chapter 15 of the Gita. You could read any of the chapters of Gita, any Shastric book in either Bhagavatam or the Gita, but especially people try to read chapter 15 because it's called Purushottam. The chapter is called Purushottam. But also the Bhagavatam chapter 10, I think verse 14.
Canto 10. Canto
10.
10, chapter 14 and 15.
Yeah.
But I asked about chapter 15, why chapter 15? And one of the Prabhujis said to me, it is what you said, it's called the yoga, the supreme knowledge.
Yeah. Yes.
So this is why. So in one of the discourses I will attend to in another group on Friday, the Prabhuji is going to mainly speak about that, chapter 15 and the reason behind it and so.
Yes, Mataji.
Thank you very much for this discussion. If we can just, for everybody's purpose, kindly go through the list of what we should be doing in this month. So definitely reading, chanting, offering ghee lamp to the Lord. What are the things?
sprinkling holy waters on you. So you can, if you have Ganga water or Yamuna water, sprinkle that. If not, while bathing, Mataji, in your tub or in your, mug or whatever, you take the water and then you touch the water. Don't let your nails touch the water. Just touch the water with your fingertip and then say the mantra, Gangecha, Yamune Chaiva, Godavari, Saraswati, Kaveri, Gangecha, Yamune Chaiva, Godavari, Saraswati. What is that?
Narmada Sindhu Kaveri.
Sindhu Kaveri, Jalasmin, Sindhim Kuru. So say this mantra 3 times and invoke the holy rivers to come to that water and then bathe with that water.
But also we were told in one of the discourses I did that not just the Purushottamam, even if you open your tap to get water, even if whenever you open the tap for your shower, so chant that mantra and your water becomes sacred then. So, it's something you can do all the time.
Yes, Maji. Also, or people who do not want to put tilak, chandan tilak, you can wear water tilak and make the water holy by saying this mantra, and then put water tilak before going out or after bathing in the 16 places on your body. So you have the list of those 16 Om Keshavaya Namaha. So this is it, singing either the Chaurashtakam or Jagannathashtakam.
There is also one to sing 33 times, Govardhana Vande. That one, it's about 4 lines.
Yes. Circumambulating Tulsi Maharani, Mataji, if possible.
Thank you very much for the list. And as much as we can do, let us, we have few days remaining in the Purushottam month, so let us try to do as much as we can. We have
just one more, Mataji, if possible, giving a flower to the Lord. Even if you can't give physical flower, just flower in your mind and then offer it to the Lord.
Thank you for that reminder. Any other comments or questions? I think we have exhausted our time. I thought it would be a short class and I was going to say what I learned this weekend, but we can reserve it for the next time.
Oh,
I
yes,
went on a retreat and I thought I'd bring out some points, but we can do it next time when there is no speaker. So let us close this session and thank everybody for joining in. It's a small group, but it's been a very effective group discussion. And that is what I think Srila Prabhupada wanted us to do, discuss and reflect and give our realizations on various things. So let us I thank everybody for joining in and participating in this discussion. I will now let's do Vanchakalpataru. Let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra once and then move on to Vanchakalpataru. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
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 Ram,
Hare
Ram,
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Vancha Ritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
all Vaishnavrinda ki.
Jai.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Meet tomorrow again. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. We look forward to learning from you about what you learned in the retreat.
Yeah.
Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Someday when we don't have any mentors, we shall discuss it. I've written it down.
Okay.
I have it there.
All right, Mataji. Thank you,
Thank
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I'll end the session.